Peace, peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abbott, aka Mr. Just the Facts family. Tonight we are gonna have a very lively and powerful discussion. Look, make sure y'all hit the like button. You know, we gonna talk about some things. We're gonna talk about some things as I wait for the people to come in. I see some people in the chat, Mr. Rambo 7, James Burton, and Brother Lionel Riley. Peace to the fam. Peace to the fam. Waiting for some of the bros to come in. I see the BTP Mod. Sister Riri is in the building. Peace, Sister Riri. Brother Corey, the ADOS vegan, BTP Mod is in the building. Let me see. Try to fix this up a little bit. Banners, boom, boom. No, we're gonna talk about Kamala Harris and her Kwanzaa lie. When I seen that, it just, you know, it upset me a little bit. It upset me, and it reminded me of an article. We bring my brother Ali in. Peace, peace, bro.
Peace. What's good, man?
Ain't nothing. I forgot to pull up this other article. Let's see if I could pull this up real quick. You wanted to say anything to the fam while I'm pulling this up? Man, I got to think of what it was. I mean, the headline.
Is it regarding Kamala?
It's not regarding Kamala, but it's basically it ties in a sense.
Okay.
It ties in. Let me see if I can find this thing.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who's tuning in. I'm sure we're gonna get more people tuning in as time goes on. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in already. Always appreciative of having everybody on board with us. You know, because as far as I'm concerned, we're family, and you know, this is our journey to take together. So we love and appreciate everybody who tunes in.
Definitely. All right, I'm see if I can find this thing. All right, well, I can't find it right now. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna open up and talk about the stimulus package. I'm coming to get my bike backs at Best Styles on deck. Peace, brother DP in the building.
Peace, yo.
I think that's a brother. I'm not sure. I don't know everybody if they're male or female.
How you feeling right now? How you feeling right now?
I feel good. I feel good. Got a little cold.
Okay.
We want to give a shout out. We got some people in the building. Want to give a shout out to Brother Logic, who is battling with COVID right now, family. So make sure y'all send some get wells to the brother, depending on your metaphysical or spiritual or religious practice. You know, put some healing thoughts into the ether for our brothers. Our brother, put some, some prayers, if you're religious, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
Our brother is battling COVID right now. It seems like the worst of it has passed. So give the family an update. Let me see. I think we should start this thing off with let's start this thing off with the stimulus package. And let me sip my tea while we throw some of these shout outs. I see my brother from my hood, Russell Bratton, in the building. What's up, Russ? Yeah, man, everybody sending their prayers up to our brother Logic. Get well to our bro. I mean, COVID is hitting home, family. I mean, COVID is hitting home. It's really
Yeah.
hitting home. It is really,
Yeah.
really hitting home. So let me see, man. Oh yeah. If you want to contribute to Be the Power, you can cash app your donations to the handle $ Be the Power. You can also use the super chat if you want to make monthly recurring contributions to the platform. You can use the donation button. The link is in the chat. Let me see. No,
And
yeah, go ahead, brother.
what we would love for you to do, families, if you could hit the thumbs up for us as we move forward. That helps, that helps. And it's not going to cost you a dime. So if you could hit that thumbs up for us, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Definitely, definitely. All right, so this is what we're gonna do, fam. Let's start this thing off with. Let's start this thing off with the stimulus debate. I guess. Well, I can't say the debate is over. It's not, but here's one of the headlines that I want to share with the family. It says $600 stimulus checks could be sent out as early as this week, according to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. $600 stimulus checks may be direct deposited as early as Tuesday night, according to U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. And when they say Tuesday night, they mean tonight, family. Paper checks may begin to be mailed out on Wednesday, he said. The claim comes amid a Democratic-led effort to pass another round of stimulus payments of $2,000 per adult. Let's get into some of the detail. It's a lot of political back and forth, tug of war that's going on, obviously, with the stimulus check. I mean, it's no secret to anyone.
Right.
We are, just going to touch on it before we get into Kamala's Kwanzaa and this new strain of COVID that is here. So I want to touch on some of the headlines surrounding this whole thing, because as we know, McConnell has blocked. Let's pull that up.
Yeah.
McConnell has blocked it, right? So one of the things that McConnell has done is let's read this headline from CNBC. It says McConnell blocks $2,000 stimulus checks, then ties them to unrelated Trump demands on tech and elections. So let's read the bulletin point headlines. It says Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell blocked an attempt by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to unanimously approve a House-passed bill to increase direct payments in the coronavirus relief package to $2,000 from $600. McConnell later introduced a bill that would boost the size of the checks, repeal Section 230, legal liability protections for internet platforms, and create a commission, to study election issues. That's one of Trump's demands, and I'm going to pull that up in a second. Republicans, including Georgia Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, who are running in crucial January 5th runoffs that will determine control of the Senate, have expressed support for bigger checks. We're going to get to that. So let's pull up real quick, Ali, and I want you to touch on this. Let's pull up Trump's
that video.
No, we're going to pull up Trump's claim about let's blow this up a little bit. What Trump tweeted, he basically getting at McConnell. He said, unless Republicans have a death wish, and it is also the right thing to do, they must approve the $2,000 payments ASAP. $600 is not enough. Also, get rid of Section 230. Don't let big tech steal our country, and don't let the Democrats steal the presidential election. Get tough.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me ask you this: what is Section 230? What does that
Okay,
entail?
I'm glad you asked. Let's pull up Section 230 so we can see what it is exactly.
Yeah, because I didn't know, I wasn't aware what that was. So,
Okay, Section 230, subsection C2 provides immunity from civil liabilities for information service providers that remove or restrict content from their servers they deem obscene, lewd,
lascivious.
lascivious, filthy, excessively violent, harassing, or otherwise objectionable, whether or not such material is constitutionally protected. I mean, we could click on the link, constitutionally protected, as long as they act in good faith in this action. So basically, it is an immunity
Mm-hmm.
that the government has placed on social media sites like
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
that removes false, misleading information. So Mitch McConnell, being the devil, the shellless,
Mm.
turtle-faced devil that he is, I'm man. Listen, that dude is the devil.
Mm.
He reeks of sulfur. He smells of hell. His
Yeah.
look, it looks like he wakes up every morning and fouls his horns down because they
Mm.
grow every single day. That he is the devil. Just
Mm-hmm.
make no mistakes about it. He is the direct descendant of the Confederate slave masters that fought to keep our families enslaved. So what he did was he rejected the bill. Once he seen the bipartisan support, once Loeffler and Purdue got behind it because they know that they're going to lose in Georgia. They're going to lose in Georgia if they don't get behind this bill because the people are hurting. And the
Yeah.
people that are hurting are not just Democrats, they're Democrats and Republicans. They're Americans, period.
That's right.
So if you know that Loeffler and Purdue is not going to issue this checks and be on the side of the $2,000 stimulus, but Warnock and Ossoff is, then you have to go to the polls thinking, I'm hurting right now. I cannot vote my party line conscience because this $600 is not going to do anything. But that $2,000 and possibly $2,000 per child, oh, that's going to help. That's going
Right.
to help greatly. Well, what do you say to that, bro?
No, I agree 100%. Like, I don't understand McConnell's game plan here. I really don't know what he's trying to do or what is it that he's trying to prove, but it's gonna backfire. That's one of the things that Trump said that I agree with. Unless they got a death wish, this is something that needs to be done. The American people are hurting. You got people facing foreclosure. You got people facing evictions. People behind on their car notes, insurance payments for the automobiles, homeowners insurance, property taxes. People are behind in a lot of different things. You got people online for food all over the place. So when it comes down to it, this is about the American people. And he's playing some kind of political game. I saw something very interesting just recently, right before we came on. They started circulating Mitch McConnell's home address. This thing could get very dangerous for that man if you understand what I'm saying? Like what Trump said, unless you got some kind of death wish, maybe he knew something. You know what I mean? Because
Ooh,
I damn sure seen that dude's home address start to
ooh.
circulate.
That's right. You put it in the in the inbox. Wait, let's pull that back up for a minute. Let's pull that back up, because at the bottom of this post of Trump's tweet, we see it says McConnell blocks Senate Democrats' initial attempt to approve $2,000 stimulus checks amid growing pressure on GOP leader to act. Unless Republicans have a death wish, meaning unless Mitch McConnell has a death wish. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it could. Hey, I don't know, man. You know, like, I know I seen his address. I don't know if it's really his address, but if that's really that man's address, man, it could be very dangerous. You
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, we see the play that's going on. They're trying to repeal Section 230. Again, we got more people in. I want everybody to you know, send some prayers and some get wells to our brother Logic, who is battling with COVID right now. You know, it's the worst of it. We hope is behind him. Our brother is feeling a little better. He's in better spirits, but you know, he's still battling COVID.
Oh yeah, it got pretty nasty for him.
Oh yeah,
Got pretty
definitely,
nasty for him.
definitely. So let's for those that haven't, you know, put some love in the air for our brother Logic. You know, our BTP political mastermind. That's what I call him. Our political mastermind on Be the Power. So you know, this thing is the reason why the timing is crucial. Let me pull up this article. The timing on this thing is crucial because of there's an IRS deadline. This is from a local news station in North Carolina. There's several articles you can pull up, but it says second stimulus check. Americans waiting for payments face IRS deadline. This is why this thing should have been done. Matter of fact, it should have been done when the first initial bill was passed. As soon as the House passed it, it should have been signed, minus the provisions for the $2,000. Obviously, they need the $2,000. People need the $2,000. Heck, I need the $2,000. I'm gonna say it. Everybody that needs the $2,000 needs the $2,000. Ain't no shame in my game. Straight up, y'all know we keep it official over here. It says a second round of stimulus payments was included in a COVID-19 relief package, which was signed by President Donald Trump on Sunday night. So the bill is signed, family, as we started off at the top of the stream. Some people can be seeing the $600 direct deposits in their bank accounts as early as tonight. So the bill has been signed, but they're trying to amend the signed bill so that the $2,000 checks can go out. Okay, it says the COVID-19 relief bill, which includes a second stimulus check for up to $600 per adult and qualified child dependents, meaning the children, if you have dependents, particularly those who filed taxes last year, they'll receive an extra $600 per child. It can be sent to people who qualify by the first week of January, before the middle of the month or in the spring. So let me see. It says, but what happens if you miss all or a part of the economic stimulus check money by January 15th, since we have a short deadline for the relief bill? By January 15th, the IRS and the U.S. Treasury must stop sending checks as part of this round of deliveries. If you don't receive your full second discount check money by that date, you will need to claim all or part of the missing amount when you file your federal tax returns in 2021 through the recovery rebate credit. So let me put this link in the chat so that people can look this up, just in case you all do not receive your second stimulus check by the 15th. And we're gonna come back and touch on. We're gonna come back and touch on this thing because I mean, this is, there's a silver lining in this COVID thing. And I pray that no one takes this as an insensitive comment. Everybody knows I am one of the most serious on this COVID thing. Everybody knows that. But the silver lining in this is this. It shows that this government can print money at will, and it will never hurt the government. It will never hurt. There's no addition to the deficit because the United States of America is the premier sovereign entity in the world that prints its own money. In fact, the currency of the world is dependent upon the US dollar. So just as quickly as they can issue these checks, these direct deposits, this digital currency, so too can they issue our reparations payments the same. We have been given a blueprint, family.
That's
We
right.
have been given a blueprint. Yeah, you want to touch
That's
on
right.
that?
From the CARES
Wait,
Act.
hold on.
Go ahead.
Let me just address this. What about unemployment? Oh, yes. The unemployment.
Extensions.
Yes, the unemployment benefits are going to be extended an extra 10 weeks with an additional $300 to what people are receiving now. So that's an update. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Ali.
Yeah, definitely. I was reading an article that really started with from when the CARES Act was first passed and that first round of stimulus money came to the people, and then, the unemployment and benefits that came along with it. Really, that right there set the stage, and it really sparked a lot of conversation for people who are reparationists, people who are interested in the advocacy and the push for reparations in terms of where this money came from, And one of the things that the article was pointing out was that, nobody's tax dollars was raised. No one's taxes went up. Notice that with the 3 trillion or whatever it was that came with the CARES Act, no one's taxes were raised. No one had to ask white America. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these are one of the things, this is one of the arguments that people consistently make. You're going to have to ask white people to X, Y, and Z. If you're talking about reparations payment, you got to get white people. Listen, nobody had to ask white America to get those stimulus payments into the hands of Black people and Latino people and whoever else in this country. Nobody had to ask white people permission for that. They just did it, right? And no one's taxes went up, right? There's no inflation. There's no deficit problem. There's none of those things, all of that spooky stuff that Europeans try to throw at you, and all of the Black people that run with all of that European nonsense try to throw at you when you talk about reparations and the economy and how it's going to just. What's one of these guys recently said it's going to overheat the economy or some nonsense like that? Did you see? you do this, it's going to overheat the what? Yo, white people just be making up stuff on the fly, man. They just make up stuff.
The facade of the deficit is crumbling. Somebody posted in the chat that Stephanie Kelton was speaking on this on the Hill a few days ago. I would love to have her on, man.
Oh man.
Look, our platform is we speak our minds over here. We are mindful of our words, but we are not on that politically correct stuff. The name of her book is called The Deficit Myth, Sister Shanna.
Right. Peace, Nick Music. Peace, Nick Music.
Yeah, shout out to BTP Mod, brother Nick Music. So the facade is, let me this comment. Keisha Miller said America's 614 billionaires grew their net worth by a collective $931 billion during the pandemic. People are out on food lines. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let me tell y'all something, right? I'm a religious person. I'm a religious person. I might not seem like it. I wasn't born a religious person. I didn't grow up a religious person. My studies, while some people studies led them away from religion, my studies led me towards religion because I realized that there was never a time that my ancestors didn't have a religion. By the strict definition of religion, by the strict etymological definition of religion, there was never a time that my people didn't practice a religion until now. So, and I stand on that. I believe that justice, what Martin Luther King Jr. said, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Yep.
It's going to always bend towards justice. Right now, as soon as we see a can somebody repost, since I'm here, one's link in the chat where is Brother Logic breaking down modern monetary theory, one of the BTP mods, so people can click on that link. Peace Poker Princess, Juanita Murray, and everybody else, legendary Top Cats. We're going to still have that conversation, legendary Top Cats. We ain't forget about you. I believe that the United States of America is in a phase of plagues. I believe that. We started off this year tragically. It really started off with wildfires burning out of control.
Yeah.
Right? And then Kobe, and I don't know if it was the smoke from those wildfires that caused that dense fog that he got caught up in. Kobe's death was crazy. I mean, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
And then COVID
came right behind.
COVID ran through and is running through America like a fullback on a half-yard line against a weak defense, for those that understand football analogy. Yeah. On top of that, you go ahead, Brother Ali. Let me pull this article up.
No, I would just say this it's terrible, man, what COVID has done. You know, we've lost so many people to COVID. I've lost, people, friends that just, and then it's sad the way that it's happening, because the people that catch it and are really sick behind it and wind up dying, you can't be with them in the hospital. The funeral homes don't really want to deal with it, so you can't really have a funeral. And if you do, it's got to be through the Zoom. It's crazy, man. I was one day taking a nap, right? And I woke up from the nap, middle of the day, whatever type of thing. And I woke up and I went and looked on Facebook, right? And I'm scrolling through, and all of a sudden I see this live feed of a funeral service, of a Zoom funeral service, basically an empty church, with a handful of people and an open casket there. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yo, what is this? Who is this? And I see it's one of my homeboys that, I went to school with.
Crazy, man.
And I'm like, what the heck? Blew my mind, is having his funeral. And I just happened to see it scrolling through Facebook, and I come across the Zoom video. But so much of that has been going on with so many different people and families and stuff. And it's really a shame, it's really a shame. But what is this you got pulled up?
Yes, U.S. confirms first case of the new COVID strain discovered in UK. So we have a new
Mm,
strain of COVID. In
mm,
Colorado, it says Colorado health officials identified the first COVID-19 case caused by a contagious UK variant. This is like
mm.
mice or roach. You see a mouse in your home, assume that there's another one. If you see a
That's right.
roach in your home, assume that there is more of them. Assume that. This is how vaccines work. I mean, excuse me, how viruses operate coming from other countries. Obviously, this person came in contact with someone who came in contact with someone from that new UK strain, unless this thing is mutating in
Mm,
a quantum way. Could you imagine? So,
mm,
okay, America, y'all don't want to do right. Y'all still don't want to do right. We got brother
mm,
Josh, BTP, brother
mm.
Josh in the building.
Peace, peace, peace.
Peace,
Peace,
bro.
Josh.
Y'all still don't want to do right. Y'all still want to hold on to greed. You still want
Mm,
to put the weakest among you.
mm,
The first wave already exposed that America has a problem,
mm,
that the meek among you, the weakest among you, are those that you denied opportunity in this country, that didn't have health care in this country, that didn't go to the doctor regularly because they couldn't afford to. They didn't have health care. These people got hit the hardest in that first wave. These people got hit the hardest. What did America do when it kind of slowed down, when it got warm? And it kind of slowed down. It peaked some, it plateaued some. But in the Midwest, the cases were still rising slowly but surely. Florida became a hot spot after the spring break.
yep.
They couldn't contain it. Governor Rick DeSantis, this redneck idiot, this incompetent fool, we got to call these people what they are, made the health officials of the state hide the COVID numbers. Hide them. Do not release those numbers to the public. Do not let people know how bad this thing really is.
Mm.
Do not let them know.
And
The
then
greedy,
I don't think that the United States cut off travel from the UK since this new strain of COVID has
they
come up.
put in some restrictions, but they put them in. When was this thing identified? A week ago, maybe? They
A
put
week
the
and a
new
half, maybe.
restrictions in just like yesterday or something. Like America is, I mean, America is bad, man. You know, people in the chat talking about the people that they've lost from COVID so far.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
these greedy corporations, like you heard us mention Tyson Chicken, that
Mm-hmm.
was betting. They were taking bets, family, on who would get it or wouldn't get it. I bet you, hey, Josh, my fellow corporate board executive, I bet you our customers don't get COVID. I don't know. This thing is spreading, brother Naheem. I bet you $5,000, not more than 5 people get it. I'll raise you 5. Okay, that's a bet. Like, this is what they were doing with human lives. The reason why the second stimulus package didn't pass, family, is because Mitch McConnell held it up. The corporate liability shield. He wanted that added in any provision so that places like Tyson Chicken, his buddies, couldn't be sued by their employees for at least 5 years. Family, we have been, and I'm gonna let my bros come on before I get on my soapbox, because I'm about to go start getting on my soapbox. We, as America's descendants of slavery, have been the only true Americans since day one. We have been the only continuous Americans, because regardless of what people say, American descendants of slavery are a monolith. And we were citizens, as we've proven on this platform, since day one in this country, when this country became a country, a geographical nation. Since it had a geographical boundary, we've been citizens here. No portion of us have ever not been citizens. Even in the South, when this country became a country, our people were citizens with disabilities. But you know, there's a part of the other monolith called white in America who do not have a continuous citizenship in the United States of America. And that's them same people in the South that created the disability on the citizenship of our Southern ancestry. It is time for us to rule. It is time for us to lead. They have ran this country into the ground. It is time for us to become the politicians. It is time for us to become the senators and the Supreme Court judges and the federal judges, the mayors, the governors, etc., etc. It is time for us to step up and rule. It is what it is. There's no other solution. There's no other solution. None, zero. Be the power, family. Be the power. Let me shut up and let my bros come in. Brother Josh.
Yeah, what's up, y'all?
What's going on?
Man, yes. You know, I just want to say this COVID thing is terrible, man. This plague, this China virus. No, I'm just joking.
China.
It's terrible though, you know, for real. You know, it's hitting home, it's hitting a lot of people. And you know, we getting hit the hardest still. Man, I don't have a whole lot to say on that. You know, did y'all already talk about the
no.
Kwanzaa
That's the
part?
next, as they say in the news, that's the next block.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna fall back because I wanted to get into
Definitely.
that. I got this thing on my back, man. My son was trying to play basketball, and we didn't have any jerseys, so he just put he wrote numbers on a piece of paper. I had the safety pin into my back so I could have a jersey. So hold on, let me fix that. But I don't have anything to say on this COVID part, man. It's real scary. You know, I was making plans to do certain things, and you know, I just canceling the plans, man, because I'm not trying to deal with that, man. That's a serious thing to deal with. I've had family members that have passed of COVID this year, several. Other family members who have caught COVID and caught COVID again. For those people who think that it's something that, well, if you get it, you ain't gonna get it again. Nah, you can catch another strain, or because I had one family member that said he caught it and then, you know, he got over it and then he caught it again and it was worse. So he survived, but you know, it took a whole lot out of him and took him months to recover. So it's no joke, man. I don't even it's tough to even talk about because like I said, I had family members that got sick and also died with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really been a hell of a year, man. Sheesh, man. As a matter of fact, this thing is so serious, and I'm not saying all of it is COVID. It's just this 2020 period. It's really been a hell of a year. I've lost family members. Shit, I think we were doing a show. Remember, we was doing a show with the family from California,
That's right.
and I had to get off because right in the middle of the episode, I got my cousin called me while we were live on the air, and she called me to tell me that her sister had just died while she was on the phone with her. She was talking to her, and then she just died. I don't know if it was COVID related or not. I really have never even found out the whole situation with that. But her, my somebody I consider family, my brother Ecstasy from Houdini just passed away recently. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was because of COVID or not. I have to find out about that as well. But it's just really been a really, really crazy year. Crazy year. So we've lost so many people during this time, insane.
Indeed. Brother Lionel Riley said, I know a guy who caught it 3 times. I'm like, what are you doing? Mask up, family. This virus is crazy. My father works for a hospital and he's seeing new patients in ICU every day dying. I was watching some news clips earlier and they were showing how the line just was going straight up. It's getting crazy. Like it's hit close to home. I know people that are battling it with it right now. If you think you have it, definitely go get tested. This is life. This could be life and death. This could be life and death. So, yeah, Jessica J, we talked about this earlier. Yeah, I seen about Houdini and the GoFundMe too. That's ADOS. Like we're gonna try to see if we could get some people on and talk about that. Right. I'm gonna just say that. I don't want to put no names out there. If Ali wants to say that, then yeah, but I don't want to put no names out there. But
well, we'll see, man. I mean, we'll see. I'll talk to them at some point. Jalil, his family to me from Houdini. We'll talk to him and see. It ain't gonna be I doubt if it'll be any time, like around the corner, but we'll see what's up with that. We could talk to Uncle Ralph and see if he would be willing to come on, because I think it would be a great thing to kind of talk about in terms of ADOS life. It would be great to kind of talk about the contributions of a group like Houdini coming out of Brooklyn, ADOS background, and the contributions to hip hop, to the culture, to the evolution of rap music. Because anybody who's really familiar with Houdini's music, that at the time that they came out, compared to the other acts that were there at that time and before them, they kind of revolutionized hip hop in terms of the way it sounded and the way a hip hop artist can look in terms of presentation. So I would love to have my brother Ja come on at some point. My brother Dr. Ice from UTFO. We might even get Chubb Rock back on, because Chubb, we're all in that same circle together. You know what I'm saying? We're all together because of each other. In other words, you know what I mean? My relationship with Chubb is due to my relationship with Houdini and Dr. Ice. And you understand what I'm saying? All of that stuff was intertwined. So I would love to have the brothers come on at some point and kind of build on that, and Ecstasy and in particular to talk about Ecstasy's contribution. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I wanted to read this comment. It said, Lord Abba, have you seen the new ads attacking Warnock on supporting racial reparations? I have not seen that, and I guess I'm gonna have to look forward to those. The Republicans are pulling out every stop right now, and you know that in and of itself is something that we need to strategize around, particularly as we speak about, you know, starting a new party, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that's something we got to talk about. We got to talk about that. But you know, rest in peace to everybody who has fallen from this pandemic, man. Everybody. You know, this pandemic has exposed a whole lot.
Oh
You
man.
know, I mean, even the street violence. It's open season out there. I mean, I've watched videos almost every day of our brothers just getting gunned down. I mean, it growing up where we grew up at, you know, certain things you see, certain things you do as well. But when you see like video after video after video like that, it's just, man, it's just crazy, man. It is just crazy. So you know, people going in on the Houdini part in the chat as well, and the fact that we, you know, our artists, me and Brother Ali was speaking about this earlier about, you know, where the OGs at that done made millions off of the trail that was blazed before them. Millions. So, all right, look, that's another conversation for another time. But I want to share this image. This is a funny image that the bros and I shared, because this is what's going on with the American government right now, right? Look at this picture really, really carefully, right?
Yeah.
So there's an attempt to rescue a woman in a boat. And there's Robin, right? The weakest of the other out of the three superheroes. The next strongest is Batman. And the ultimate strength is Superman. In this picture, we've in our team, we've broken this picture down to say that the woman in the boat represents America. Well, this is a part of my breakdown. The Superman represents the government. Robin represents the lower level, maybe your House of Representatives. Let's say Robin represents your House reps. Next in line is the senators, which is Batman, right? They have the next level of strength. And then you have Superman, which represents the federal government in and of itself. Now, Superman has the power to fly with Batman holding Robin, holding the woman with her foot caught underneath the boat while blowing a cold wind, cold enough to freeze the water at the same exact time. The same exact time. So
Sure could.
I wanted to share this tonight because this is the game, the rules that the American government plays on our people, and pretending as if they do not have the superpowers to save us who are heading over a cliff, particularly us who are America's descendants of slavery, particularly.
And I love the caption. The caption is right on. The caption is right on. That's why they put Mitch McConnell at home address out there. Shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, this is what we're dealing with, family. This is what we're dealing with. All right, so let's get out of this, and we're gonna get into the next leg of our discussion. Kamala, or as she would like for people to say, Kamala. because it sound hood.
Kamala. Kamala.
What does Judge Joe Brown call?
Ah,
I ain't gonna say that one. I ain't gonna say that one. Okay, this particular meme captures the sentiment of what many Americans are saying. Somebody said flying would be socialist. Flying would be socialist. Oh, that is an excellent comment. I think I tweeted and posted on my Facebook page the other day, maybe even yesterday. I'm loving how this socialism is working out for everybody, because that's exactly what. See, you can't hide it no more. You can't hide it. I had to put that up there. Let me see. Hold on. James Sumler, honors for the contribution, said this is going to be tricky because the Democrats have to get behind Warnock if they want to win the Senate. We'll see. Oh no, the Democrats are already behind Warnock. They are 1,000%. They are throwing all types of money at Warnock and Ossoff, particularly Warnock, because he has a better chance of beating Loeffler, who the right doesn't even like, because she early on criticized Trump. Trump didn't like the fact that she criticized her, and then Brian Kemp appointed her in place of the outgoing senator. I always forget this dude's name, man. Somebody in the chat will help me out soon. But the outgoing senator, and you know, so Trump really had beef with Kemp from that point forward. That's why he wasn't really too keen on helping them. But people must have got in his ear and was like, "Look, you gotta support them. We can't lose the Senate. We can't lose."
Well,
the Senate.
let me ask you this: Can the Democrats actually, like, based on the numbers, can the Democrats win the Senate, even if they win those 2 seats in Georgia? What number would that give them? Because I'm looking at it and seeing that the Republicans already have 50 seats.
Thank
you know, I could be
20 Johnny Ivy.
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, you got to think about the independents too. The independents, Bernie Sanders and somebody else, and those people are going to vote with Democrats usually. So it will, if they win these two, it'll be a split, and then vice president can break the split.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into Kamala. It says, does this look like someone who grew up celebrating Kwanzaa? To the left, and they show her Indian family. Let's blow this up. Let's blow that up some more. And then it says, does this look like a family that currently celebrates Kwanzaa?
Maybe Hanukkah.
Right? The candles similar.
Yeah.
Right? Don't they do this?
You take one candle off and you got the Kwanzaa.
Okay. So there was a tweet. There was mounds of tweets. Let me pull this one.
You gonna go to Kamala's original tweet or just?
Oh yeah. It's in the screen capture I have. Okay. So let's blow this up. Let's blow this up. Let's see. Kamala says, our Kwanzaa celebrations are one of my favorite childhood memories. The whole family would gather around across multiple generations, and we tell stories and light the candles. Whether you're celebrating this year with those who you live with or over Zoom, happy Kwanzaa. Oh,
come on, man.
That's really interesting. So I thought this was the best tweet that I can pull up so far. Somebody named Deontay Johnson.
I think he played for the Steelers.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just joking. It's not this dude. I'm just.
Oh, I'm about to say, I don't know who this dude is. He says, can someone explain this one to me? I didn't know Indian Americans celebrated Kwanzaa. Her father wasn't in her life. So what's the Kwanzaa connection? Well, let's correct his statement, family. Let's read that again. I didn't know Indian Americans celebrated Kwanzaa. Her Indian Jamaican father wasn't in her life. So what's the Kwanzaa connection? That's how it should have been worded. The rest says, on top of that, Kwanzaa was invented in 1966 and Kamala Harris was born 1964, but it's now her favorite holiday. I thought this was perfect.
And
Perfect.
somebody, you know, they went further because I mean they were really destroying her on Twitter. The comments were awesome. They went further and was like, well, she moved to Canada, I guess, early on in her childhood. So the question then was, is were they celebrating Kwanzaa in Canada? You know what I'm saying? Do they celebrate Kwanzaa in Canada? You know, and the Jamaicans were like, there were a few Jamaicans that came on talking about, you know, we celebrate Boxing Day the day after Christmas. We don't do Kwanzaa.
That's right. That's exactly what they celebrate in Canada. Boxing Day.
What is that?
I don't know. I just looked at it the other day because I was looking on a calendar, and I was like, I've seen this thing Boxing Day since I was a child, and I don't think I've ever looked it up. And then I did look it up. What is the point of Boxing Day? Boxing Day was traditionally a day off for servants, and the day when they received a special Christmas box from their masters. The servants would also go home on Boxing Day to give Christmas boxes to their family. So it obviously has something to do with indentured servitude. So, you know, Brother Josh, what do you think about Kamala and her supposed Kwanzaa celebration that she celebrated when she was a child, with multiple generations of her family would get together and tell stories? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know what family she was talking about. You know, I believe her mother and father weren't together then. So, and then did she get with her father's family for Christmas and somewhere? I don't know. Like that doesn't make any sense. So her mother would give up her Indian practices that she had that probably didn't even celebrate any type of anything around December the 25th, to then do Kwanzaa, which she had no connection to, and which really, let's keep it official. Kwanzaa wasn't even really celebrated as a thing for, like, even when we say it was invented in 1966, that doesn't mean it was like spread around fast and widely celebrated around the countries after that time period.
No, it wasn't.
You know, you go and you look at her Twitter post history. I don't know if you had that, but during the holidays, she never mentioned Kwanzaa. You know, she never mentioned Kwanzaa. And you know, somebody will argue, well, you know, she was trying to stay away from anything Black so she can reach her political aspiration goals. The problem, you know, why? Like, you shouldn't just be able to turn it on and turn it off and just be a chameleon, like somebody said, come a chameleon or whatever.
Come a chameleon. What's the colors of Kwanzaa? Red, black, and green. Red, black.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. Like, all you had to say was happy Kwanzaa for those, you know, who celebrate. Or you don't even have to say that. Just say happy Kwanzaa. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah. That's fine. You're trying to encompass people, but stop trying to like you already have pulled the wool. I mean, you have already pulled the fast one on us, right? Not on us, but
Sister Shannon said, I heard Pop showed her how to light the candles.
right.
That's funny.
You didn't already, ran the game on us. So do you feel like you got to keep running game? I mean, I think maybe to keep running the game and keep that going is like a constant reminder, or just like a constant like get up off me, so you don't look for anything substantial or substantive is in terms of like policy or action or her using her position to push for anything that's meaningful for us. It's like, hey, I'm celebrating Kwanzaa. I'm with you with Kwanzaa. And really let's keep it official. Most of us don't even celebrate or even know anything about Kwanzaa. We heard of it.
I've never celebrated
what it is in school, but we didn't know nobody else deal with Kwanzaa in our family. That's just most of us, So yeah, that's what that is.
Tiffonology said, you ain't got a lot to kick it. Happy Kwanzaa would have been sufficient. You see,
that's it. That's a bar.
This is
2 bars.
This is a part of how Black America has been ran roughshod over for generations in this country. A lot of failed and broken promises. A lot of we could tell the Negroes anything. It's just we could promise them anything. Just go out there and say stuff. It has become like breathing to the political class. Those that try to, we see Cori Bush, we see Jamal Bowman speaking about reparations. Soon, they're going to try to find a way to shoot at that. They're going to try to find a way to get the CBC to come together and try to shoot reparations down, because the CBC is the Black delegated wing of the corporate Democrats. They are the gatekeepers. We know that, but I believe they're going to try. And if they don't do that, the CBC is just going to say, well, look, let's just do the commission. Ain't nothing going to come of this. Let us get a couple of these GS-18 checks and let the people in the lower commissions, the subcommittees rather, let them get some money and we'll make it go away. We'll make it go away. So, we gotta understand that if we don't become politicians, then, I remember I was in Detroit. This was around 2003-ish, 2004, maybe 2004, maybe 2005. And Kwame Kilpatrick was the mayor. We out at this spot somewhere, I can't remember. This dude, Kwame Kilpatrick, showed up with rocked out earrings, chains, and a fur coat, looking just like a street cat. Looking just like a regular street cat, like a hip hop. He looked like Big Boy from Outkast that night. To be honest with you, he did. I mean, somebody said Kilpatrick was wild. He was real. He was a real one. He got caught up doing some crazy stuff. I don't think that the time that he got justified his sentence, and even so, it was politicians that did way worse. They did way worse and got off much lighter. Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them getting pardoned on the federal level right now.
Mm-hmm. So I say that to say we don't have to practice and engage in underhanded stuff, right? Unless you got a middleman that you could. No, I'm just playing. So, right, we ain't got to engage in none of that stuff. We just do politics, man, and show people that when we get the power, we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we do right by our constituency. Like, this is the goal. This is the goal. This is what's important. This is what's important. Period. We know the play. If people like Kamala, she's like somebody said, a chameleon. She is a Barack Obama. But there are two recent articles that have come out going at Obama. One says, the title reads something like, I'm a young black man, and I'm not all that impressed with Obama. And another one, I can't remember the headline, but they're going at this dude now. They see him for what he is. And this younger generation, because he tried to speak against defund the police and the word socialism. Among the younger generation, the word socialism is popular. Obama is a liar that lied to us. He's going to continue to lie to us. He's going to continue to go out there and be that buffer between the political upper class, the elite, and the rest of us, basically. You get nothing. You get nothing. You get promises of better education. You get promises of change and hope. But at the end of the day, you will still be poor. You will still be worth at the median $1,700. I mean, what you got to say to that, Josh?
Yeah, I would just say that, another thing that this pandemic is really highlighting is the extreme gap that is the wealth gap. The extreme and the gap, I believe, is widening at a faster rate now under the pandemic, as the people who had lesser means are bleeding out, and they may be the people who even the people who may be in business or own their own job, self-employed or whatever the case is. These people are more likely to be hurt, be losing customers, or businesses slowed down, supply chain is messed up, prices are higher. They may not be able to pay their bills, and they might be burning through savings and to try to maintain. They're in maintain and survival mode, and they're not necessarily in thrive mode. That means they probably had less savings and wealth or whatever disposable to be able to invest in the stock market to take advantage of the things that people who have stockpiles of wealth are taking advantage of right now. So these man, I wish I had it in front of me, but I didn't think we were going to get into this. But these things are actually at this point have been documented, and we've seen that this is the case, that the pandemic has increased the wealth gap, and I don't know how it's going to improve from here with $600 stimulus check. I saw something. It was a Twitter back and forth that I wanted to get into. Matter of fact, yeah. If you had anything you want to say as in terms of that, I'm gonna pull up this Twitter exchange. It was you saw it. We talked about it today earlier. I'm gonna pull up this Twitter exchange, and then we can talk about that. Hold on.
Brother Ali, you wanted to add anything?
No, not right this second. I actually was in the middle of doing something. You caught me on guard.
Yeah.
I feel you. I mean, look, you know, at the end of the day, let me pull this article up. Mitch, let's go back to Mitch real quick. This devil. It says this article is from Vanity Fair. It says McConnell only cares about one thing, and that's power. Power. His relationship with Trump was so easy to spot. Didn't need a real degree in political science to understand it. You could see it. It was, I'm going to support you. I don't rock with you, Trump. You're a different type of you're a different type of white dude. You're a populist posing as a Republican. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna support you. I need you to fill all of these Supreme Court seats with all of these people. I have a list. Oh man, what is the name of that right-wing group where they get the list of the the judges from? Oh man, I can't think of it.
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't think of it offhand. But there's a list of right-wing. It's like a, I don't know, a club or an association or something like that. But Trump filled those seats. Trump didn't know nothing about that. There you go. I knew we got such a sharp group of people, you know, across the Federalist Society is the name of it. Across, you know, from BETHEPOWER to the various ADOS platforms. I mean, even those that call themselves FBA, you know, I don't really have no beef with them outside of the fact I didn't like that when, and I'm gonna say this, when that beef was going on between Tariq and Yvette and Tone, this dude Tariq brought Dr. Darity and people like that into it and made up a whole bunch of nonsense. That was lame sucker stuff. And like, you can't claim to be street and hood, because it's real street hood dudes in this thing that can see a particular type of action and say, nah, homie, that ain't hood or street or real or none of that. So I wasn't feeling that at all. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got to pull ourselves together. We got to pull ourselves together. And some type of consensus has to be reached on that, because Be the Power is moving as Be the Power, point blank, period. And our goals and objectives are very, very clear. There's no ulterior motives. There's no hidden agendas, none of that. Our objectives are clear. If we was doing this for fame and whatever, we could have 10,000 watching us as well. I could have been leveraged my, you know, long ago. I could have been one of those pseudo dudes that you've seen out there jerking people out of their money, and now seem like, yeah, that's the word, Sister Riri. That's the, I don't know profanities, right? So thank you. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we don't do that. That's that sucker stuff, straight up. Or at least we don't do that where I'm from. So, you know, but I say all of that to say that it's a smart lot of us that sees what needs to be done, what has to be done. And there are those of us who are in fact ready for power, point blank, period. There are those of us who are ready for power, because we've been forged in the crucible of the American ghettos. Hov said in one of his, I think that was, I remember vividly what these streets did to me. I remember vividly what these streets, like we come from that. I was raised in the projects, roaches and rats. Like we come from that. The meek shall inherit the earth, basically. We've been to the bottom of the bottom. We've been underneath the bottom. And if we can't, again, I'm gonna use that term, employ the Hegelian dialectic to come to a synthesis and capture a large portion of our people, then we don't deserve to be leaders in no space, because we are all suffering right now. We're all suffering as a people, and we've been suffering. And if we haven't learned the lessons from the past, Du Bois and Garvey, Malcolm and Martin, I mean, we could keep naming them. I mean, we can keep naming them. Go on and on and on and on. If we have not learned those lessons in 2020, the year of a play, we are not fit to call ourselves leaders. We are not fit to capture any amount of people and claim that a code leads them. We are not fit if we cannot come on the same accord and sit. There's Republicans and Democrats who can't stand each other, literally. And yet, they're at the table hammering out all types of deals. You telling me of people that have no power other than streaming on YouTube can't get together and hammer out our differences so that we can move our people forward? Can't come together? Y'all ain't gotta hold hands. Like, I gotta speak to some of this stuff because it's lame. It's lame. I don't care who don't like it. Y'all know I'll speak my mind. I don't care who don't like it. It's lame. But we're gonna do what we do over here on Be the Power. And I just had to, I had to speak to that because we've always been losing, but damn, COVID may have, it's one thing to be losing, and then there's one thing to actually lose. Game over. This could be game over for us as a family.
Well, yeah, I mean,
don't got time to sit around beefing with nobody. Like, we're going to address it head on, and then we going to get over it. We're going to move forward.
Especially if you think about this new strain coming.
Yeah.
It's more infectious and
50% more infectious than the COVID, this COVID that's wrecking America right now, which is 3 times more effective than the flu. This thing that's coming. Come on, man.
It's insanity, man.
It's time to stop playing. People are playing out there. Some people get drunk off of power. Like, let me tell y'all, I've been humbled by, I don't mean to be ranting, but I'm gonna pull your screen up, Josh. I've been humbled by so many things in life. I remember I was debating this one guy, I used to call him a super pseudo, named Inky. And I got a video up on this channel right now going at this brother. Some of my videos I didn't take down. And he was looking at the numbers of my YouTube channel years ago. He was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "What you talking about?" We was on the phone trying to set up a debate. He was like, "If I had your channel with your numbers," and my numbers wasn't big then, but for that time I had some decent numbers on my YouTube channel. I think I had like 4,000 subscribers. That was huge about 6, 7 years ago. He was like, I'll be killing them right now. And I'll be eating. I'll be doing this. I'll be doing that. Come to find out, this guy's name has been associated with a lot of scams and a lot of schemes. And I remember telling him, I said, I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be broke than to take a nickel, one nickel from somebody. I was just raised different. I'm cut from a completely different cloth. But I could have been a brother polite a long, long time ago. I chose not to go that route because it wasn't never about my own personal fame. I don't speak in me. I speak in we. I speak in the collective. So I hope this message reaches somebody. I hope this message reaches somebody so that they can understand that what we doing right here has a limit. This conversation, us talking, has a ceiling that puts us nowhere near the levers of power at all. All it does is just keeps us talking. And we have be the power, not trying to continue talking. So I got your screen pulled up. But 1 second, Josh. Let me say this. Let me say this real quick also. Again, y'all hear me say this a lot. You know, y'all hear me say this a lot. We want to expand BTP into a TYT. If you are interested in helping us spread this thing so that we could become our own media company, so that BTP can be the TYT for America's descendants of slavery and those that sympathize with America's descendants of slavery. Hit us up, btplivecast@gmail.com. btplivecast@gmail.com. If you got any skills in media, anything, I don't care if you just put flyers together. Hit us up. Let's build, let's grow this thing. Let's grow it. I'm gonna pull your screen back up, Brother Josh.
All right. Yeah, man. I just saw this tweet today. Not today, yesterday, day before. I don't know, one of them. And I thought it was a good tweet. So I jumped in. Let me just pull it back up so I see. It says it's by brother, I guess, DAP ADOS Tribe at Black_Action. It says the Kwanzaa Black Unity. This is a quote from the article. The Kwanzaa Black Unity. The Kwanzaa Black Power Unity is calling on President-elect Joe Biden to make an executive order in his first 100 days to make a $50 billion down payment for reparations for the enslavement of Black and brown people in the United States. So obviously, I thought that was a problem. So, let me. Can y'all see? I just clicked on the article. No, I don't think you can see. Hold on. Let me make an adjustment to the screen share. Hold on a second. Let me adjust the screen share real quick. Adjust it. All right. Oh, you know what? Here we go, right here. I gotta share audio. So let's see.
Doubt.
Let's see if let's see what they're talking about, right? I might have to get past an ad. No.
Ralliers ringing the alarm. Along the bustling streets of Bed-Stuy, calling on President-elect Joe Biden.
Make a demand on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris within their first 100 days in office, asking them to sign an executive order bringing reparations giving reparations to Black people.
As the president-elect recently announced an ambitious agenda for his first 100 days in office, ralliers say it's time to make amends.
Other racial groups have received reparations. The Japanese Americans in 1987, Congress issued a resolution giving them $1.7 billion.
Now, ralliers say their demands are more than just a paycheck, rather an opportunity to promote positive change in their community, as they tell me they lack resources, economically and socially, all stamped in the name of slavery.
We saw what happened during the pandemic. We saw that Black folks were disproportionately represented in terms of debt. So we know that we have a serious healthcare issue in our community.
Ralliers say lack of resources isn't new news, and reparations would only be the start of fixing an issue over 100 years old.
The down payment for the debt owed is to begin the initial repair of a very traumatized, ill operating healthcare system.
While the pandemic unveiled disparities in Black and brown communities, ralliers are hopeful if demands are met, resources nationwide could be created.
A down payment of $50 billion, which we intend to use to build institutions such as to deliver quality healthcare services to our community.
In Bed-Stuy, Phil Tate, News 12.
Wow. You know, they didn't say anything. I know somebody said there was a conversation going about the video, and someone said, well, the people in the video didn't say anything about Black and brown. I don't think they did. But it was the guy, the newscaster, who said something about Black and brown or communities of color, whatever it was he said. But you know, I know Brooklyn, right? And I know that the demographic of quote unquote Black people in Brooklyn, when you break it down, is very heavy Caribbean Blacks. The guy who was talking in the video is a Caribbean Black. I could hear it in the way he speaks.
Yeah, he was definitely not an American descendant of slavery.
So these guys, you got a bunch of, I mean, I'm sure there was some ADOS people out there as well, because the woman who was speaking sounds like she could have been ADOS. I don't know. You have to see, but these guys, so you have a bunch of Caribbean people with red, Pan-Africanism, right? The red, black, and green flag is representative of a Pan-Africanist ideology. Out there talking about reparations for a debt that's over 100 years old. That's insane to me, man. That's insane. I don't get 50 billion, whatever it is they asking for. It doesn't even matter. The fact that these people have the gall to even do something like that is freaking insane to me.
Yeah. So there's that. So, we gotta, I want to say, I appreciate, oh man, I just seeing a message about expanding the browser, but I appreciate anybody that's, pushing the message of reparation for American descendants of slavery and not just Black people. I don't want to accuse him of having a nefarious intent, but I just want to say that if this guy or anybody that's connected to them are watching, you have to, if you're going to come out and do something like that, you need to understand that a lot of work has been done in this space, and it will behoove you to actually do some homework on all the work that's been done on this issue, and so you don't just speak generally, because you actually can cause more confusion and damage than you will doing good. For example, if you're going to ask for reparations and you're going to carry around a red, black, and green flag, that's not how you do it. You carry the American flag, because reparations is grounded in us having an American contribution and America owing us.
Facts.
It's grounded in us building the nation and being the original, the most American person on this land. Being the person being the group that made America even have to make its first civil rights legislation. And you can't, and if you even want to talk about being in New York, the city where that's like the finance capital probably of the world. You know, you can argue London, but New York, right? Because it's of the wealthiest nation. The building, the finance of actually being the first stock on Wall Street, right? The being the finance, being the bodies and not only the labor, but the bodies that built the original mortgages, right? So where you can actually use your slave bodies as collateral to get loans, right? So like you have to anchor that in America. Also, you can't just use the term Black people. You got to use the term specific those people who descend from American slavery. And lastly, to talk about a paltry $50 billion. Like I was trying to look up real quick, how much did the Native Americans get under the original CARES Act? Didn't they get like would they get 200 billion or 20 billion or something like that? Yeah, do y'all remember?
I don't remember.
I remember it was a lot. It was a lot. And I was like, dang, and we didn't get, they got 20 billion set aside.
20 billion.
And that's just a COVID-19 response set aside in Indian country, 20 billion.
Wow.
And you're talking about we get a down payment of reparations for 50 billion. That ain't no down payment. Where can you go and get and granted, we're not talking about a loan, right? We're not talking about we're talking about a debt that's owed that if we calculate it, like all right, let me just expand this. Let me expand this, right? Do I need to zoom in or can you see all right?
What's that?
Yeah,
the tweet?
You definitely gotta zoom in, bro.
All right,
yeah. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Oh yeah.
All right. So look, this is what Dr. Doherty says. Silliness, 50 billion out of a bill of at least 10 to 12 trillion, 0.5% maximum. That's no signal of commitment. I gotta agree with that.
Right.
I gotta agree with that. That is extremely crazy. Like, I believe it was Tone that was asking Marianne Williamson. I can't remember the amount he was saying, but 250 to a trillion or something like that, or 500 billion to 2 trillion or something like that as a down payment. Now that'll do something, you know. We're talking about, because that's 20% of that 10 trillion. 2 trillion is 20% of the 10 trillion. When you go to get, you know, a house or a car or something, they don't let you just pay 0.5% of you wanted to get, you know, a down payment. You don't make no down payment of 0.5%. You got to make a down payment of 20%. That's you know, traditionally that's what it is. I ain't talking about, you know, the broke and subprime and all of that we talking about. Mortgage insurance, I ain't talking about that. But let's now, you know, it's interesting because like this tweet just encompass a lot of things that we need to talk about. So let me dig in right here. So it says, I agree the ADOS community has a strong case for reparations, but U.S. average wealth distorted by inequality. Average household wealth is about 85th percentile. Median wealth is more politically feasible and arguably more fair. Really? Okay. Damn, I didn't mean to do that. Excuse me. So, I mean, listen to this dude. He's basically trying to dig up the old Matt Brunig argument that, you know, that the gripe between the gripe about the racial wealth gap has to do with the you know, closing the gap between the top 1% or top, you know, 1% of black folks and the top 1% of white folks, because most of the wealth of each group is held, you know, the top 10% of black folks, the top 10% of black folks have over 90% of the wealth or something like that. 75% of the wealth, and the top 10% of white folks is similar, right? But that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. So that's why I replied, if your argument is 10 to 12 trillion in reparations to close the black-white racial wealth gap at the mean, if your argument is that's unfair, I would agree. That total would be much larger if we actually itemize the full scope of damages. It's a deal on a larger outstanding debt. Oh, see, because y'all got to understand, when we talk about 10 to 12 trillion, I'm just want to break this down so people don't get confused and think that that is coming from the total where we itemize, what it would take to repair, or we itemize, all the damages that was done. And no, that isn't where that total comes from. That total comes from what it would take to close the racial wealth gap between the average white family and the average black family. And you break that down per household and you total that up. That's how you get to 10 to 12. You see there's a 10 to 12 trillion wealth gap between what the average white wealth and average black wealth is, the mean. Okay, that's where that number comes from. It doesn't come from, well, we work, the 40 acres and a mule, and that calculate that up to today, and then, or well, we was held 24 hours a day, 7 days a week against our will. No, those are other calculations. Okay, and I want to bring something else to your attention. Like we talked about this in the summer. I think I talked about this on a couple shows ago. But if you want to calculate and you factor in a full scope of damages and repair, it's not even something that America could possibly pay with any type of realm of reasonable amount, right? It's nowhere close to being feasible. I'm not even talking about politically feasible. I'm talking about economically feasible, because it would eclipse 20 times the combined total wealth of the entire planet. I think it's about over 6.2 or 3 quadrillion. That means you take you take double the amount we're asking for at 20 trillion, and you multiply that times 300. My math is not, my math may be off, whatever, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, you multiply that times 300. Okay, then that's really what we're owed. But all we're asking for is a fraction of that as a baseline to close the racial wealth gap. So then, the problem this dude is talking about is the same thing Brunig was talking about. Well, if you close the racial wealth gap at the mean, well, what that's going to do is you might end up with black folks to have more
money than white folks.
The mean wealth of black folks can be higher than white folks. Okay, so? Because guess what? You go look at what the average Asian is worth, the average Chinese or Japanese or Indian. Don't see what they worth compared to white people. It's higher. So what's wrong with black folks who built the country getting that? And so I want to break down real quick how that math will work. See, that says if we close the racial wealth gap at the median, we would only be accounting for 3% of white household wealth. The average black.
And let me say this too, Josh, just to interject real quick. It's important too that people understand, as you go through this argument of Matt Brunig and his utilization of whiteness, this blanket term whiteness, for all of these people of European descent in this country. The problem with that too is it implies that all these people that are being called white are actually foundational white people. They're not. Most people that we call white in this country today are immigrants. Most of them come here after black people. So they really don't deserve to be in no higher economic status than our tribal people anyway. But because they all fall under the white classification, he's able to make these kind of arguments as if these people deserve to be where they are. And that's not true.
And let me camel back on that. It is why we do the show, the breakdown on blackness and whiteness on Be the Power, because it's problematic. The same thing that Ali says is with white folk is happening with black folk, right? The people that are called white and black in the United States of America. Now, all of a sudden, some guy with an RBG flag that should be fighting for reparations in the country that he came from is on the streets of New York with a RBG flag, confusing people about what reparations is, pulling numbers out their pocket. I want to say somewhere else, like $5 billion, without understanding what reparations is. I watched Ali crush a lot of these whites, right? That's WIGHT. That's how we spell it, and that's what we mean when we say it. I watched him crush them by asking, what is your ethnic background? How many generations of an American are you? And those that were bold enough to say, oh, my great-grandfather came over here with not a nickel to his name and wasn't even able to speak English, they tell on themselves. And I watched Brother Ali destroy them in these conversations. They don't even realize that the American government helped their ancestors put them in the position that they're in, because that's what happens when people get money. I watch it among our own people, those that make it, quote unquote. They got their house and their car, they got a nice amount of money in the bank. Oh, they feel as if this opportunity should be extended to everybody else insofar as hard work, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, not even realizing or caring to realize, because most of our people have simply been trained to talk down to our own people.
That's
that
right.
The whites in America got help from the US government, period. That's how they became the wealthiest group in the wealthiest race in the United States of America. Race, it's fictional construct. And we're able to pass along that wealth generationally to whereas these politicians like Trump, his family is not a foundational European American. His
That's right.
family came over here on a ship, on a
From
boat.
Germany.
They migrated here. He would fall in the category of a German American. I'm just saying, family, we have to change the conversation, even if it makes you uncomfortable. The conversation has to be changed. Go ahead, Brother George. I didn't mean to.
Nah. You know, hey, that was y'all came in with the much needed commentary, you know, because that's kind of along the lines, like we have to break this stuff up. That's what we always been talking about. We got to break this up. You got to break whiteness up. You got to break blackness up. You got to break all this stuff up because, you know, America just allows you to just come in and fall underneath certain groups. And then you can access the benefits or the liabilities of that group. And, you know, for somebody to say, well, my grandfather or my great whoever came with no nickel in his pocket. Yeah. But then, you know, there was something called Jim Crow, where certain people were taken off the board as far as being able to compete in the economy, being able to compete for contracts and business and jobs and all these type of things. Not able to access. And then there was something called the New Deal. You know, there was something New Deal policies where we talk about not only the Social Security Act and all these workers' rights, but also what is considered by even President Bill Clinton to be the single most great act of Congress that helped the most Americans and that was the GI Bill, where all of these people that came back from the war and it was working with the military got access to money and benefits that allowed them to fund businesses, get the skills and training to improve, to get a job. And, you know, you look at our people was locked out of all of that for the longest period of time, you know, was locked out of advancement, even in the military to get the training and skills, was locked out of being able to access the bill, the GI Bill, like funds to be able to start a business or to purchase a home, you know, then we're not even gonna get into redlining. So like when you talk about this person came over from Europe, when you came over from Europe and you came to America within a generation, if not the same generation, you got to access whiteness. But there is no black access to whiteness. That's not built. It's not built. America's not built like that. So I just want to hammer the message home. Like when you hear people talking about closing the racial wealth gap, it needs to be at the mean and not the median, because 97% of white wealth is held in above median households. Okay, so it's like, so it says, look,
Right.
black household will rise by 23,000 only. So you talking about reparations, and you will only raise the black household wealth from when they want to use $17,000 to we say 1,700, but they'll say 17,000 for the median. You want to raise that from 17,000 to 40,000 or 39,000 or something like that? No way. Like that can't be no reparations. If that's the reparations, that needs to be deaded. So make sure when you're talking about it, closing it at the mean, because the difference is about $800,000 per household. You know, so instead with this person talking about, we'll give them 23,000 per household, and what we're talking about in minimum as 800,000 per household. Well, that's a big difference. Because if you want to say, well, you know, the white population and the black population, if you look at the top 10%, 75% is in each hands. Yeah, okay. But how much of the black population is accessing the top 97% of the wealth of America? How much of let's put it this way. How much of the black population is in the top 10% of white wealth? Let's ask that question. Is nowhere close to the numbers that they get in percentage wise. Right. So, you know, why is there no black Steve Jobs? Why is there no black Bill Gates? Why is there no black ADOS, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett?
Right.
See any of those? You see a few people that got made because of media and entertainment. That's it. Throwing bones. And you know, you don't see any people starting any large companies, let alone the generational like legacy money, like people that own, that's the heirs of Johnson and Johnson and Dow and these type of legacy companies that's split off from generations of Walmart and Exxon, that what is today Exxon, which was Standard Oil and all this kind of stuff. You don't see any of our people accessing that from the legacy money. Now, we're gonna get down into this. If you want to say something on that, Ali, I wanted to get down.
No, I wanted you to continue with the tweets. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we touched on the issue with this march here, that how it was all wrong and they need to get that right. We touched on how the 50 billion out of the 10-12 trillion is crazy, and we can even say 10 to 12 trillion. Like I said, that's a deal. You know, they need to be happy. It's not, and then so now we're gonna get down into some of these other obscure type of things that people keep saying. So we gonna just keep refuting them. So this brother said, I don't know, his brother or sister said, in what nation will he write the check to? They only pay to nations. Black ain't a nation or a nationality.
Let's let people know, preface that this is one of those Moorish guys that, and I'm not gonna sit here in front. I used to hold that same type of view. But this is what we learn and grow for, is when you get stuck at a certain place that it becomes, you become the fool.
Right. So then this guy named Mr. Ali Bey, PKA C-Rock, I don't know. Who's that guy? Y'all know him?
BTP.
So I don't want to speak in his voice. Can you read it, Ali?
Oh man, it's hard. It's a little bit small for me because I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'll read it then. When you go to work on your, I'm gonna get my Ali voice. You go to work on your job. Did they have a problem writing a check to you? Did they ever have to ask you which nation to make the check out to? Did the federal government have to worry about Black people's nationality with the CARES Act, stimulus, or unemployment checks? Yeah, yeah. That, what you got to say about that, bro?
No, I mean, it's just common sense. That kind of stuff is common sense for me. You know, that's what I think of whenever I hear people talk about nationality and all of these things. I see but go ahead, because I'm going to actually say kind of what I think about it in probably in the next tweet. So
Yeah, let's see. What does that have to do with Islamo? What does that have to do with topic at hand? Totally different things. It has everything to do with the topic at hand. The problem is too many of y'all who think your Moroccans don't understand the irrelevancy of ideas in this space. The federal government pays Black people with checks on a regular basis. Don't know where you've been, but yeah.
Like, that's crazy. And I love that comment. I seen it. And yeah, like, to the people that are watching this, that's in the Moorish movement, and they're not really in the Moorish movement, that are beholden to the pseudo scofflaw ideology that tries to incorporate the Moorish movement into it. There are people that work for the federal government who are identified as Black. They get checks from the federal government in their capacity as Black people. It's just as simple as that. It's a silly
whether
argument.
you work Social Security, like people get Social Security checks from the federal government, people get so SSI. If you have say if you have a child with special needs, maybe, and you need to get SSI for your child from the federal government, you know, like you said, workers, you know, unemployment insurance, you know, people get unemployment, people getting stimulus checks. Black people, man, Black people. God damn. You know, I see all these people talking about, and even certain people saying that, you know, reparations. Listen, I understand putting in a lot of time and effort into a certain way of doing something, or like when you believe in something real strong, you put a lot of time in it, put a lot of effort in, a lot of energy. And I know there are a lot of more people, you know, family members who have put a lot of time and energy into that over the years, right? Because we've done it. We've put a lot of time into it. But the point that I came to with being introduced to a lot of this information coming from Professor Darity, coming from Antonio Moore, coming from Yvette Carnell's perspective. A lot of the stuff that I've come into in terms of the information as it has been revealed to me is the irrelevancy of that stuff. I know we put a lot of time into a lot of it, but there is no way that I can look at it with a logical mind and say that there's a treaty with Morocco that somehow is going to have a bearing, or that there's some treaty with the Day of Algiers and Tunis that's somehow going to have some bearing on the African Americans securing reparative justice in this country for what happened to them in this country. I don't understand, right? And I do understand. I do understand. I'm saying I don't understand how that's going to play any part in it. But what I do understand is that people have invested a lot of themselves and a lot of their time into a lot of that information. I think what it does is it makes for good historical conversations. It makes for a good. It gives you a good understanding of how we, in certain aspects, how we got to the point that we are, because we've touched on the Moorish history and its connection to African American history and the plight of African Americans in this country. We know that there's a connection there. We can show people the connection, but there's no, like, you can't be serious when you're saying that the only way to reparations is through some kind of Moorish treaty or anything of that nature. You can't be serious. You can't be. You can't be serious when you talk about some kind of world approach to reparations, a Pan-African approach to reparations. You're not serious. You're not serious. I know you're not serious. And I know, and I get all of the sentiment behind it all. You know, white supremacy is this global thing and we have to attack it from a global, but that's not what we're doing. We're not necessarily, see, people think that pushing for reparations is an attack on global white supremacy. That's not what we're trying to do. It is like Yvette often says, a justice claim for a specific tribe of people who had something done to them and their people, right? What was done to us and our people, the descendants of that institution called slavery, was not done to everybody. It is like, if you, like we said before, if I get into a car, or those of us on BTP got into a car accident, right? Everybody else who drive cars can't come into our claim and say, yo, look, Allstate, look, we all drive cars. So therefore, you know what I'm saying? We all went through something. So we should all be beneficiaries of whatever claim BTP put through for the car accident they was in. That doesn't make any sense. And so, no, I can't stand by a Morris Treaty argument. It just doesn't make any sense. It has no relevancy.
I mean, we debunked that stuff years ago. I did on my Blog Talk radio show, I did a breakdown on how the idea that Morris treaties can be used as a legal defense is just completely bunk. It's just absolutely destroyed the argument. Absolutely destroyed it. But
so I wanted to just for those real quick, just for those who may be wondering or may not know, like, the actual issue with the problems with this dude Satan outside of what Ali just shared, and what actually makes it false, you know. So we, instead of just dismissing it because it's crazy, we recognize that it's a whole lot of people that have been given the misinformation through the Moorish movement about the fact that you have to be black because black is not a nation. There's no Blackadonia. I heard some person say Gardenia or whatever. Yeah, your boy.
That's a Taj Tariq.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but the fact is, you know, we're not making a claim based on anybody being black. First off, we're making a claim based on a lineage where we can prove our ancestry can tie directly to somebody who was damaged, who never received justice, who was supposed to have received justice under Field Order 15 of the federal government, which was entitled us to 40 acres and a mule, period. Not only that, even outside of the 40 acres and a mule, we have a long line that goes back centuries of damages, and we can tie our family back to that all the way till present day. And for the person that says, well, you know, you have to be tied to a nation. Where's the precedent for that? Japanese Americans were Americans.
That's right.
They
just because they didn't want to call themselves yellow doesn't mean they couldn't get reparations. They had a
right.
And they got Congress.
If they accepted being called yellow, if they said we are yellow, they still would have got their reparations.
Identity is a matter of semantics. It's not anything that's like concrete in American jurisprudence. Come on now. Like that's just what we want to call ourselves. I can call myself whatever I want. Just like when you call yourself whatever kind of name you want, when it's time to go to when you get arrested, you got to sit in front of the judge. He's going to call you by the name that's legally recognized, right? The same.
Mm-hmm.
We can call ourselves whatever we want as far as a group identity. When it comes time to go to and be recognized on a legal forum, we're going to go to and be recognized by what is legally relevant, and that is our lineage and the damages and all that kind of stuff. It ain't gonna matter what we call ourselves. What we call ourselves is just for clarity, so we can understand socially. It's not a legal issue.
Right. That's what I've been saying for a while.
Here's a question we have from among us.
Mm-hmm.
That
it's a good question for someone who's kind of new to it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if hypothetically they approved whatever reparations we demanded, who would determine who the funds are allocated to? Who want to take that one?
I would say this, right? Dr. Darity has laid out what I believe is a really good criteria in terms of who the beneficiaries of a reparations program should be. And when you look at the criteria as he laid it out, you see that it kind of answers that question, as well as the fact of, like we said, this whole thing is based on lineage. It's based on what you can show and prove, and that's what the criteria is about as well. So in terms of, could you put the question back up just so I just wanted to see who would determine who the funds are allocated to. The determination should be based on the criteria and those who meet the criteria. That's the way the criteria is actually designed. And I think it's a very valid criteria that will work to answer a lot of questions. Right now, the other part of that is for people who may have been adopted, because I saw that kind of question come up too. People who were adopted that might have a problem tracing their ancestry. Like, I don't have a problem tracing my ancestry because I wasn't adopted. So I know who my parents are. I know who my grandparents are. And based on the records that I found on their birth, on the grandparents' deaths and so forth, I'm able to continue moving forward, moving backwards through time to find previous ancestors. But what about the people who were adopted? Well, that's when I think certain DNA testing will help, because what it does, and I know Naheem has done it, my family's done it, we have DNA testing that shows other people that are connected to us, other family members who are connected to us that are living right now, who might be able to help you fill in those gaps to then move back in time to find those ancestors.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, it's crazy because I actually connected with several first cousins that I never knew about through one of these DNA testing platforms.
Oh, wow.
He might have not known and thought he was an immigrant or something, and connected with me. Nah, bro, I can tell you, I can trace his lineage up far back. So yeah, that's powerful, Ali. And I want to say, when it says who would determine who the funds are allocated to, that will be Congress, because Congress is going to be the one who's going to enact any type of money disbursement or whatever. That, just like you see with this CARES Act, that's not something the president can just do. The president can maybe issue a study about what needs to be done, but the president, he can form a commission, but the president does not have power over the purse. So that will be that's Congress. And, it wouldn't be something that it would just be left up to them, right? It would be people, they will bring in subject matter experts like, a Dr. Darity, who, and the criteria that he's outlined, is 2-pronged. And that is, number one, you have to prove an ancestor that was prove that you have an ancestor who was enslaved in the United States, and you have to have identified as Negro, Black, Colored, African American, etc., for at least 10 years, I believe, before
prior to the onset
the commission is formed, or to the study bill. Either till the reparations bill gets passed, right? So And then, you know, that's the criteria he proposed. You know, some others added some other things to that, like dealing with biracials and all of that. But that's the current proposed criteria. You know, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about who it would go to. We got that covered. It would go to those people that can tie their lineage back. It would go to those people who were not. So there's no loophole for white people to get in. Because people say, well, Irish was enslaved. No, they wasn't. So improve. If you can show me one Irish person who was enslaved in the United States of America, not no colonial indentured servitude in the United States,
right?
So improve.
And also the first part, or the second part, identifying as Negro, Black, and colored. I'm talking about. So that would mean if I was supposed to be a beneficiary, I would have to be able to show that I identified as a Negro, Black, or colored person, or an African American, to fulfill that second part of that criteria. Irish people don't do that.
Yeah.
I think we also need to revisit some of our earlier live streams where we were breaking this down, you know, get back into Dr. Darity's book and Dr. Darity and A. Kirsten Mullen's book, From Here to Equality, and really begin highlighting a lot of that criteria, you know. So
somebody said, excuse me, yeah.
Under the Dr. Darity criteria, there will be nowhere for $5 ADOS to creep in. Like they had $5 Indians back in the day. When they got $5 American descendants of slavery.
Oh man, that's funny.
Claim our lineage, and that's what the guy is doing in Brooklyn. I really didn't speak to that, but he's watering down the claim easily. It's easy to see, and this is why, like, everybody takes advantage of our disunity, and that's what we're seeing with that Brooklyn March. It is another example of people taking advantage of our disunity. What did Garvey say? Disorganization was the greatest Negro of the enemy. And we keep
the Negro.
of the Negro. And we keep running into the same wall generation after generation with all that we've studied. With all that we've studied, somehow our own ego gets in the way.
No, that's word, bro.
It's hard to it's hard to get our tribe of people to unify, right? One of the things that I think our folks are having a problem with is, like, we always talk about this whole disaggregation thing, right? Because everybody's afraid of being called xenophobic. Everybody's afraid of being labeled as an anti-Pan-Africanist. So because of that fear or not wanting to be labeled with those things, our people don't want to unify with our other. They don't want to take themselves and separate themselves from other people, specifically for this claim. I'm not saying doing that socially in terms of, like, we don't have any interaction with any other quote unquote Black people, but specifically for the purpose of this claim, they refuse. They refuse, man. It's very hard. Like, I know the ADOS is doing it. I know the Foundational Black Americans are doing it. But outside of those two groups, it's very difficult for African Americans to come to the place of, yo, look, you are your own group. You have to try to figure out what you're going to do for yourself, right? You got to try to put your group first in terms of whatever it is you're advocating for. You have to do that, right? And so I think that's one of the problems that we're seeing. It's just we're not able to do that for fear of hurting other people's feelings or being labeled as xenophobes and nativists and all of these different things that people, these little words that people throw around, and nobody wants to be called these things. I saw it today, just on a few posts today. ADOS are xenophobes and this and that. And divisive. Like I said before, man, embrace division. Embrace division. I told y'all how to deal with that.
What did you say? Division is divine?
I said division is divine, and I will always use the Bible. Like the Table of Nations in the Bible, the Table of Nations is showing you the division of men. It's not talking about unity. It's talking about the division of man based on based on the various nations created by God. So I'm like,
in the Quran, we find the same thing. Allah says, I created you from a single clot of blood into nations and tribes so that you may know one another.
Exactly. And so that you may know one another. Identify your distinctness. Identify your groups, right? If God created you that way, if Allah created you that way, then embrace it. It's not something to be ashamed of just because somebody come up with these new words talking about nativists and divisive and xenophobe and all that. Man, come on, man.
You know what they're going to do, right? Real quick, John. They're going to find that clip from Vampire in Brooklyn, and they're going to compare division is divine to evil is good. Like, you see what they're doing? That's like the guy from Vampire in Brooklyn. Evil is good. You have necessary evil. While the other night, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. That's classic right there. You brought it back to man. You know, I hope we get some more classic ADOS movies moving forward. It's not looking good.
Who knows if that'll ever happen again?
You know. Yeah, it's a fact. Corey. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I put this as a tweet a couple weeks ago. I'd rather embrace division than to follow, I'd rather acknowledge division than to follow delusion. You know, because you gotta understand it's delusional to continue the narrative that a flat blackness, right? Like you gotta understand, there's some circles where we intersect. You know, there's some issues where we obviously have some similar plights, but to say that the circles 100% intersect all the time is delusional, and to think that that's how they actually see it when they get amongst their specific groups and tribes, or when they're in your presence, that's not how they see things. That's not how they see things at all. They see things like America sees it. ADOS at the bottom, and everybody else is trying to make sure that they don't get replaced as that bottom. So, and that's including those people that you think is kinfolk, and that's kinfolk.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I like that point she's making, BT. Even when we look at the United States map, it's divided up into separate states that enacts different policies for different regions. There's no difference in terms of ADOS defining our lineage.
There you go,
absolutely.
BT. I mean, BT.
Shout out to
absolutely.
BT. P mods. She got the BT. She just don't got the P at the
end. Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Dwight. Shout out to Dwight.
Definitely. All right, look, fam.
Shout out to the brother Ishmael Bey too. Shout out to Ishmael
shout out
Bey.
Brother Ish, definitely.
Shout out Riri. Shout out Riri. Who else? Shout outs. Let's see. Who else we got to shout out? Let's shout out some people. Corey the vegan. Shout out. Shout out Angela.
Sleeping Omex.
What up? What up?
Latanya Ali. She's been on a lot of the last couple of streams.
Juanita Murray. Shout out to Juanita.
Shout out to Roslyn Mickens.
Roslyn. Shout out Roz. King Supreme. What's his King One Supreme? Shout out to King One Supreme.
Joel Armstrong. I got some good comments, man. I be peeping.
Oh yeah. Got Key Studio. The General Oath 04.
Yes, indeed. Metro Customer. Shout out.
001.
Yep.
Shout out to our other Mars, Cynthia.
Cynthia, shout out Cynthia. Yep.
Nick.
Nakia. Peace, Nakia.
Nick, definitely. Nakia Boysen. Brother Lionel Riley, definitely. He been
shout out Lionel. What up, Lionel?
Last joint we've done over the last couple. Shout out to the family. Like this, we a family.
That's right.
And There's no way that we win this thing trying to move separately, but as a tribe. It's just, it's no way. I don't care what you tell yourself or what you're being told. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. We're going to encounter this. History is the best teacher. We're going to encounter the same problems.
Yep. Craig Lewis Bay. Shout out Craig Lewis Bay, 42 Tribes. Shout out 42 definitely. Tribes.
Rodney Williams, Joel Armstrong.
DMT. Shout out DMT.
LEIE. Been coming to the last couple of live streams as well.
Word, Mr. Two Opinionated. I see you. Shout out, Mr. Two Opinionated.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I want to give everybody one love. I gotta say one love, man. You know,
that's right.
In memory of my brother Ecstasy, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. One love to Ecstasy, yo.
That's right. Make sure y'all thumb up the video. And tomorrow night we might have a rather interesting yet controversial conversation. And we're going to be talking about closing the population gap. So I'm trying to get Brother Sarnetta and Sister Nepal and a couple people to come on. And yeah, this is gonna be a little controversial. We're gonna get into some topics. Some people gonna be uncomfortable. Some people gonna be uncomfortable. But it is what it is. You know, some people are uncomfortable talking about reparations for our people. It is what it is. So, you know, shout out to I never know if I'm saying his name right. Nuke. Or Nuke, you know, shout out to you. But yeah, Future 5 zeros and Sarnetta is always welcome to Be the Power. Always. Sarnetta helped me get my name out there. Sarnetta is always welcome on this platform. He could come over here and get beat up. I'll get tired of beating him up on his own platform. Straight up. So yeah, family, we gonna close it out. Brother Ali, Brother George, I had any closing words y'all want to give to the family?
Hey man,
just go ahead, Josh.
Take care of your health. Take care of your mental health and your physical health. Take some vitamin D3. Take some drink plenty water. Get you plenty vitamin C in your system. Get your rest. You know. There's something else I wanted to say too about dealing with health. Stay away from your nightshades, your eggplants, and you know,
especially during the winter time.
Yeah, and don't put honey in your tea. You know, don't heat your honey up. Don't put it in your oatmeal. You got to put your honey on top. You got to get it cold. Don't let it get too hot. You know?
That's right. That's right. Okay. Somebody said no thumbs down today. The trolls must be tired. That is true. Shout out to Timeout. I've been in the chat a couple times. I'm coming to get my bike back. Herb Saint been in the coming through as well. Riri said make sure y'all get y'all black seed oil, you Vince Jefferson. Great information, BTP family, and the chat is on point. Exactly. Good night, Sister BT. You know, I just want to say, let me see. I just want to say that I think we said enough. Matter of fact, I'll just close out with our platform's motto. No. I do want to speak of one more time to unity. Family, it is incumbent upon us. If we are, y'all know, I call myself a Moorish American. I follow Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And he, to me, said one of the most profound things that any leader had said when he said, and I've said this before on this platform, when he said, I can't save you. Nobody can save you. But if I could just get you to thinking, you will save yourselves. If we think that we're going to walk along this one path spread out, then, shout out Empress T. I see you as well. If you think that we're going to walk this path, because this path is narrow, it only has enough space for America's descendants of slavery. Or if you want to use the term foundational Black Americans, or if you want to use the descendants of freemen, y'all know what we mean. This path is narrow. It's narrow. And what winds up happening when we don't walk together is we try to push each other out the way. And we end up walking in the mud. And then nobody is really on the path, because there's always constant pushing off of the path. And when you walk in mud, it's not the same as walking on solid ground. You slow yourself down. Your legs get tired. You get wore out. It's just a fact. Think of the analogy. And that's what a lot of us are doing. We are walking in mud right now. And there should never be a problem too big that it cannot be fixed for the overall purpose of what we're trying to accomplish here. That goal at its foundation is reparations, because of the wealth information that we know that has led us to so many pathologies in the United States of America, so many things that have affected us. I've encountered some people who are truly mentally ill and don't know that they're mentally ill. They have no clue. I think about my past behavior and say that was mentally ill behavior that I thought was all right. I thought was cool. I thought was a part of being ghetto or hood, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of us carry those mental pathologies with us, and America did it, and we know that. But we can't know that and keep pushing forward the way that we're trying to push forward. We can't. It's impossible, because we're going to end up walking into the wall that we are building up for ourselves, brick by brick. We are tearing down one wall, and then we're taking the bricks, unconsciously taking the bricks from the walls that we're tearing down and building up new walls right in front of us. This is foolishness. This is foolishness, the actions of fools. History rewards us with how to move forward. History rewards us with the best path forward, period. And if you can't see that, something is wrong. Something is wrong. And I'm talking to everybody. How Hov said, I keep citing Hov tonight, and I ain't speaking to nobody in particular. Maybe it's the Yankee.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the Yankee fitted. I don't know. But I ain't speaking to nobody in particular. I'm just saying, we can't do this separate. We can't. That's why them guys is marching in Brooklyn. You got some Caribbean dude waving red, black, and green Marcus Garvey flags, talking about $5 billion in reparations, not realizing that he's shortchanging us, watering down our reparations claim, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Come on, family.
Yeah, he's attempting to. It's not going to work.
Yeah, he's attempting to.
That's not going to work.
But that's the type of person that they shine the camera on.
Exactly.
When COVID clears up,
we're going to be in them streets.
We in them streets. We're going to march through Brooklyn. I might wave this flag that's behind me though. I might wave this one that's behind me. You know, because it's a combination of our Juneteenth flag and the African American heritage flag. I call this the freedom flag. I call this the freedom flag right
Or
here.
the freedman's flag.
Huh? The
The
freedman's flag.
freedman's flag.
Ooh, even better. The freedman's flag and the American flag. And those that choose to want to carry RBG flags or Moroccan or Moorish flags in the background, y'all can do that. But we are leading the march with the American flag and the freedman's flag. Point blank, period. Point
Gotta
blank.
put our tribe first, man.
Our
Gotta
tribe
practice that.
Our tribe first. So again, before I get up here, let me make this announcement. If you have some type of skills in media, I don't care if it's just WordPress, just to make flyers, man. We want to expand BTP into a media company. We have as nonprofit the United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, and our media arm of that is Be the Power. We have a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit. We are running into walls because we are not a year in yet. So, I mean, if you know somebody that have grant writing skills and know how to get around all of that stuff, hit us up. Send an email to btplivecast@gmail.com. If you have some journalism skills, if you would like to start a daily segment, maybe in the afternoons on BTP, and you know, we work out the particulars. Let's go. Let's get this thing moving. Let's get it moving, family. We have the power now to take control over our own media. Press is our greatest tool next to our unity. Period. That's why we do what we do here. And I don't want to be here. I want to be your House rep or your senator or your mayor or your governor or your president. That's what I want to be. But those that have the skill to do this, we want y'all here. And when we move from the platform, we're going to still come back and be on the platform, of course. But that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. Honest for the contribution, Sister Moni Love. That's another one we got to shout out. That's always in coming through.
Yes, indeed.
You know, so let me see. Again, send your emails to btplivecast@gmail.com if you would like to help us spread this BTP message, help us expand it, help us. Honest for the contribution, Reginald Morton. You know, and let's go. Let's get it, family. Don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.